So in this particular graphic here, we've been asked, we've been told in the last One News, Brunton poll a couple of months ago of 1,003 eligible voters, the following poll results were found. And what I want to know is, can National, for example, because they've got the highest percentage, so I'll just write this down here, could the National Party gain a majority to govern alone? Now, for that to occur, they need to, so this, for our part of writing this, I'll just use a different colour. So for this to occur, they need greater than 50% of the vote. Now, currently they're sitting on 45%, but because we've got a poll of 1,003 voters here, would the margin of error show any chance of them getting up over that 50%? So what we need to do here, so with the margin of error now, because we are between 0.3, so this number here, that's between 30 and 70%, we use the rule of thumb, which is the margin of error is equal to 100, because it's in percentages, over the square root of n. Now we can change that to 1 over the square root of n if we change those to decimals. So the MOE in this case here would be 100 divided by the square root of 1,003, which I calculated out would be 3.16%. So what this tells us is that we would expect, based on these results, the National Party to get somewhere with 95% confidence to gain between 41.84 and 48.16% of the vote. Now, that's not greater than 50%. So here we would have to say, based on if they needed to get to 50% to gain a majority, they would not gain a majority. The political system works a little bit different, and it is possible to gain a majority with 48%. But based on these numbers alone, if they were aiming to get 50% to absolutely make certain of a majority, they would fall just short based on this poll. On the next slide, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at New Zealand First, which is currently sitting here on this poll on 3%, and does the margin of error for a party on 3% give them any chance of getting over that 5% threshold? So for this particular question, the question is, does the MOE, the margin of error at 95%, show New Zealand First could reach 5%? They're currently on 3%. Now, because we are not between 0.3 and 0.7, so this here is not between 30 and 70%, we need to use the full equation for the margin of error to work this out. And so the MOE at 95% for less than 30%, and it's the same for being greater than 70%, equals 1.96, so plus or minus that, it's a plus or minus, times the square root of p, 1 minus p, all over the sample number, okay? So it's all of that square rooted. So in this case here, if I was to do it here, so the margin of error for New Zealand First is equal to plus or minus 1.96 times, then we do the square root bracket all over like this, so 0.03, so we convert them to a decimal. For this one here, you need to convert to the decimal. That needs to be times by 1 minus 0.03, which is 0.97, just to extend that, all over 1,003. And what you're going to end up with, and let's put this in a different color just to make it stand out a bit, you'll end up with plus or minus 1.96 times 5.386 times 10 to the negative 3. So that's basically 0.005. So I'll just come over here now. And so basically what that means is when we times that standard form number by 1.96, we basically end up with the answer being 0.01, which of course is 1%. So when we add or subtract 1%, so NZ first, that means it would be 3% plus or minus 1% at 95% confidence. Okay, so that means that New Zealand First we would expect to get anywhere between 2 and 4%. So that means they would not reach 5%, which is the threshold to get into government. So they would fall out of government. So this example here is just showing you what to use when you've got a number that's outside the 30 to 70% range.